Welcome to another episode of Fave Five From Fans, where we explore all things favorite. Well, I mean, not all things, because like I said, we don't talk about politics or religion. I've talked about... Anyway, I'm your host, Jamie Ray, and today we have a first-time guest actually in the Plastic Microphone Studios. I want to welcome David. Thank you for making the trip to come see us and for bringing your list with you.
It was a fun drive.
Yeah? You enjoyed it?
I mean, yeah.
Well, of course, in that car, of course you would. Drive to the mall in that car, it'd be awesome. You have a... Well, tell everybody what you have. This one. What did you drive?
That one, I have a 2014 Dodge Challenger RT.
Mm-hmm. And it's white. Mm-hmm. And it looks like you've changed out and you've put a black hood on it.
Yes.
Yes, with those little pop things.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And that's going to be important because we're going to talk about this later.
Oh.
Which again, I'm stunned and befuddled that you don't know what I'm going to talk about, but that's okay.
That will happen so many times.
Okay, well, we're good. Okay, so what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be talking about our 5 favorite Kurt Russell roles. Mm-hmm. And this idea was yours.
Yes.
Okay, did you pull that off of one of my long lists, or you saw my lists and then you thought, Kurt Russell?
I saw your list, and I saw like 4 different things that I liked, and then saw Kurt Russell. Because I was like trying to decide between the 4. I guess I'd overlooked it, and then I saw his name. I was like, never mind.
That's what I want.
That's it.
Well, it's an excellent choice. Love me some Kurt Russell. Mm-hmm. So this list, though actually... This list wasn't that hard for me, which is kind of strange because a lot of times I go over and over and over. But when you brought it up, my number 1 is my number 1 whatsoever. Okay, mm-hmm. My 2 and 3 actually swap places today, but we'll get into that too later.
Okay.
So what I did, if you've ever watched the show and if you're watching it now, thank you. If you've never watched it before, what are you doing? Anyway, you're here now. We sat down, and I told David that he could make a list of 5 of his favorites. Now, you know Mark Sino, and you know he doesn't follow the rules. So you have stuck to the rules and come up with 2 honorable mentions.
I would just like to state for the record that it is because I want to be a better guest that I have decided 2 things that I'm going to do against my nature.
Okay.
I'm going to try to not take over, and I'm also going to try to not derail it.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes. You're already a better guest than Mark. You know, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I assume, based on our little conversation, that you have some honorable mentions, 2 of them. Mm-hmm. So I think if you're ready, I'm ready, and they're ready. Let's hear what you've got.
Okay. So I'll break your heart early.
Okay.
My first honorable mention is the one that I said is my not so honorable mention.
Okay.
And it's The Thing.
Okay.
Now, I got yelled at.
Thank you so much for joining the show.
So I got yelled at for this and was told, while I have a respectable opinion, it is also incorrect. Now here's the thing. So I watched this movie under the insistence of Mark, and I literally mean...
Just recently?
Yesterday.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. I don't like scary movies.
Okay.
Now, and I say that as a blanket thing, and like, I don't like scary movies, but I do like some. What it really means is that I'm undeservedly picky.
Okay, that's okay.
So, like, as an example, I love Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I like all the Alien movies.
Okay.
I like Seven. So clearly I like sci-fi, suspense thrillers, which when Mark hears those 2 things, he thinks, oh, you're going to love The Thing. And I went, okay. And he told me, and I'm like, this has the right ingredients for a movie that I would like. And then I watched it, and I was like, I hate this.
Wow.
I hate it. I hate it so much. But it's not for the reason that he or most people would think. Like I said, it did have all the ingredients. And while I was watching it, it was one of those movies that I could tell it was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that I like it.
And that's okay.
And so, like, when we got to the end, it did the very specific thing that I don't like that happens in certain movies. And obviously, swathing audiences enjoy this. I do not enjoy constant dread.
Okay.
And so, like, that is the thing. Like, I need something to break up the monotony, to break up the stress, to break up the dread. And so, like, Alien, as an example, Bill Paxton doing his thing.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay.
Newt being super sweet and stuff like that. I get it.
Yeah, and so, like, give me something. Something that redeems the all, like, and again, like, so many things that I found were, like...
There's a dog. Oh, wait, never mind.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, how'd that work out? Exactly. Don't mess with the animals. And, oof. It's so many things about this movie that, like, I wish that I could have enjoyed when they were as revolutionary as you can tell they were.
Groundbreaking,
right.
For sure.
And so it's like, I can tell as a person who did not grow up when this movie was popular, like, or when it was, like, at its newest, like, I could look at this and go, this had to be incredible.
Yeah.
And because, like, it's still cool. And so in the world of practical effects and all of that, like, I see that this is a great movie. But it was one of those things where, like, I needed an emotional palate cleanser.
And there was none.
Yeah, no, it's like, so when the movie was over, I was like, okay, Family Guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to fold clothes and watch Family Guy and remember that the world is not this.
I can see that, okay? And that's a great explanation. And I do appreciate that it's on the list. Because, honestly, even if you're not a horror fan, just all the individual acting, all of are they alive? Are they dead? So I don't know if you've gone and done a deep dive afterwards.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was very curious.
So the whole Childs McCready thing at the end as to which one was true and which one was, okay. So there's a lot of that. There is a Dark Horse comic book out there. I think it's 4 issues that literally takes place that morning, and 2 choppers come in, and they take one of each of them to, a Norwegian town or something like that, and that question is answered.
Oh, okay.
But it's a comic,
okay,
so it's not really canon. But if you're ever interested, it's out there. It's a cool story.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, and there's a lady in it, so that's the first thing that we see. Because we haven't seen the thing from 2011 or something.
Right.
So, okay, that's a great honorable mention. That's honorable for all the right reasons, even though you don't like it. So, what's your other one?
My other one is Death Proof.
Oh, okay.
Now, and here's the deal. Death Proof, objectively speaking, is probably better than every other movie that's on my list. However, my list isn't based off of what I consider to be an objectively good movie.
That's right.
Death Proof had so many cool things going for it. Like, one of the things that I liked was that he was quintessentially just Kurt Russell after a really bad day.
Yeah.
Like, and that's kind of one of those things, like, you hear that sort of movie trope where, like, every hero is one day away from being the villain.
Right.
He's the one who went to the other side, but he was still kind of just his, like, 80s cocky self.
Yeah.
By the way, his car is one of the reasons why I got mine. Anyway.
I would not doubt it. And his car is what?
I can't remember, but I knew it was a black hot rod.
Okay.
And it had super big wheels.
His car was a Challenger.
That's what that is.
Okay. I'm sorry, a Charger.
That's what I thought, yeah.
It's a Charger.
Right. The irony is that my Challenger looks more like the old Charger than the new Chargers do.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't like them.
Yeah. So,
but,
and being that it's black and not orange, that makes a huge difference.
Well,
Anyway.
But I loved that there was callbacks to, like, Burt Reynolds.
Looking at many things.
I like that his tank top from the Little China movie.
Mm-hmm.
Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, which that was weird.
Yeah.
Like, revisiting that was a troubling day.
Right.
But, like, that movie was a fun ride, albeit sadistic.
As long as you're in the death-proof car.
Correct.
Then it's not so fun.
The funny thing was, is like, I got completely divorced from the film entirely and was just thinking, what would I do in this car?
Yeah.
Like, would I go full Grand Theft Auto in this thing, or would I go Twisted Metal? Like, I couldn't figure it out, and then I just remember thinking, I would go on an interstate car chase.
Yeah.
And I would just let them come after me, because no matter what, I would survive. I'm like,
right.
Ram it, let's go.
There you go.
Just, let's find out what happens. But I liked the movie for the car.
Yeah, well.
He was fun, and he was cool, but the fact that he was fun and cool and had the car, but in my opinion, that was just Kurt. That is the what if universe of if he goes full send villain.
Okay. All right.
And I thought, because he's still funny.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
still,
he is.
He's still
And the way he
dark.
looks at the camera and he knows that you know what he's about to do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, so he's still charismatic. He's still funny. He's still charming in that kind of a dark way.
Right. I mean, he charms the ladies for sure.
But he's just a villain now. And I'm like, what a weird way to play yourself and a bad guy at the same time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get over like how well that married together.
Yeah. And the role was great for him, like you said, because it is just kind of an amped up version of himself with, and Tarantino is able to pull so many good performances from so many people in this movie. Michael Parks is amazing as the sheriff. And have you also watched Planet Terror?
No.
Okay, so he basically plays the exact same character, Michael Parks, in that movie as well. So anyway, it's great. It's a great film. But no, that is also a very good and honorable choice.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're doing well, so good.
I appreciate that.
You're doing so well, so good. So good. So
far, so good.
So far, so good.
All right, cool.
That too.
All right.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, so what are yours?
So I have two honorable mentions as well. The first is his role as Sergeant Todd, or 3465, from Soldier, 1998. Love this film. Imagine a soldier trained from birth to be the ultimate warrior, not the wrestler, suddenly deemed obsolete and literally abandoned on a desolate waste planet. But fear not, for this soldier is not alone. He's taken into the community of defenseless, stranded wayfarers who offer him a new purpose and a chance for redemption in the form of the newest model of soldier showing up. Who do you think's going to win, huh? I'm going to put my money on Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
So I love this role for him because there is literally no emotion from him for probably 5/6 of the movie. He is just this. He doesn't really feel pain. He doesn't really feel emotion. He begins to, once he's in the environment where people care about him, all of those feelings start to come to the surface, especially with the little kid. And you get those flashbacks of when he was a little kid and his world was completely different.
You think he had emotion for a sixth of the movie? That's really generous.
Yeah, I know. Well,
I don't think he blinked.
I didn't want to go into
16,
but when he gets to the end and he realizes that these people, what they've done for him and brought them in, and then he starts to feel anger when he's fighting Jason Scott Lee, I think's the guy's name. He played the dragon. He played Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
And then you see that he is almost afraid because he knows if he doesn't beat this guy, that these people who brought him in and taken care of him are, probably going to be dead. So, okay, so I'll say 15/16 of the movie.
I think what you're misinterpreting for emotion is just him being out of breath from the stunts. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's all it was. Like, again, I recall this movie very well. I don't think he blinked. I think he just ate and moved.
Yeah.
That was
and
it.
he pooped, but it was off screen. I'm thinking. So, anyway. All right, well, my other one is the polar opposite of this character.
Okay.
And I'm talking about when he plays Santa Claus.
Aha.
In the Christmas Chronicles and the Christmas Chronicles 2. Such a fun movie. One of my favorite parts has got to be when he's arrested and the cop is they're interrogating him and they don't believe he's Santa, and then he brings out and I'll say it's all kind of cliche doing Santa, but it's so fun. And then the whole blues band shows up in the prison cell, and everybody's like, well, and then the cherry on the top at the end of the first one is when you see Mrs. Claus and it's Goldie Hawn.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, oh my God, they are so off for people who have been together as long as they've been together. Mm-hmm. It was really awesome to see, and then you get the sequel where you see more of them together,
right?
In such an iconic roles. I just love it. It is in our rotation now, along with Elf and Scrooged and some of the other ones.
So, Do you remember the very end of the first one? He actually does the Merry Christmas to All, and run it back.
Okay.
Right. Listen to that, and then watch Death Proof again.
Okay.
There is, I love that film.
Okay.
Not on my list, but I love that film dearly. But I remember thinking, like, is Santa a little nuts? Because, like, there's a malevolence in his delivery. And I'm just like, wait a minute.
Like, I would agree with that, because there is a side to Santa, because he has to deal with all of the naughty kids. And he checks that list twice.
Right.
And so if you're not on the nice list, he's not going to be very generous with you.
I guess.
So I can see what you're saying there.
I remember it, like, when he did it, I was just like,
ooh.
All right. I'd have rather just not say it. Have a good night. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway.
Laters.
Yeah. You can see him doing that. Oh no, I 100% agree. That's a great film.
Well, thank you. I love it because it's the way it's full of Christmas cheer. You do see him in multitudes of roles.
Yeah.
And so Santa was never one of the roles I would have thought him, and he did a great job twice.
One of the things I do like about that movie is that it was appropriately campy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't Hallmark over the top.
Right. There wasn't saccharine loaded.
Right. and then, like, also he definitely played Santa in a way that was very unique to him, because it's not, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of copy and paste Santas.
There are.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, like, I love that he made it himself. I also like that they didn't try to go to one extreme or the other with Santa.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I love that. No, this is Santa if it's Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that that's sort of like the continuing consistency behind Kurt. It's like, whatever that character you have in mind, we're going to wrap it around him.
Yeah.
And that's going to be your character.
Yeah.
So, like, whatever you have planned, we're going to forget that. We're just going to skin him with it.
But you're not saying that he's Kurt Russell in every role.
Correct.
Okay.
That's what I mean, though. Like, everything...
He puts
like,
on a coat
right.
and goes and acts. Okay.
Correct.
Because there are some actors who we won't go into that are the same character in every movie. Mm-hmm. And that kind of drives me nuts. So, anyway. Okay. All right. Well, that's my honorable mentions.
Okay.
I think we've got that out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
We are now ready to delve in to the meat and potatoes of our list. What is your number 5?
My number 5... Don't get mad at me.
I'm never going to get mad.
So my Fave 5 is a twofer. And I only say a twofer because, to me, this is like the future action version of Evil Dead.
All right.
It's Escape from New York / Escape from LA.
I will allow it.
And I say this for two very different reasons. I think those two movies both have things that we're missing from one another.
Okay.
I love Snake Plissken. Snake Plissken, and he actually addresses this. Kurt Russell does address this. Snake Plissken gave birth to my second favorite video game character of all time, which is Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, like, and they reference Iroquois Plissken in the second game. We're getting off topic, but the point is, like, Snake Plissken is, like, so cool.
Right.
And, like, I grew up on cartoons.
Yeah.
And so, like, he was my first real introduction to, like, what being a bad man was like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
an anti-hero.
Right.
Right.
And so, like, that was like my, like, I was like, oh, you could be that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then, like, he had the sub ship and the gliders and, like,
the surfboard.
But see, that's...
Love you, Kurt.
I mean, that's... You know what I mean? Like, that's... I don't know if jumping the shark is the right one. Surfing the canal is, like, we can update
jumping the Cadillac? Well, I don't know what
yeah. No, but that's what I mean, though. Like, But, like, there were so many different things that I loved about Escape from New York, and so many things that I loved from Escape
Michelle
from LA.
Forbes.
Right?
Pam Grier.
Pam Grier.
So good.
Now, here's the thing.
And Bruce Campbell. Oh, we talk about Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell was great. It's the
I completely forgot about that.
Surgeon General of Beverly Hills.
You have such a beautiful blue eye. Same, there's just the one.
Exactly.
I didn't even think about that. That was him.
Yep.
Oh my God. So, but here's the deal, though. There were so many things wrong with both of them too. Like, the ending of 2 was beautiful.
Right. But it would have been more beautiful, don't mean to interrupt you, had they done Escape from Planet Earth. The trilogy.
Is that really?
Yes, there was discussions about him being like sent off to. There's a secret base on the moon. There's something, because if you watch the end of it and everything, it's pretty much like, okay, well, I'm getting way off track here. Google "Escape from Planet Earth" with Snake Plissken, and you'll see. I think there's even a script out there.
That is wild.
Yeah, it would have been awesome.
Okay, so I thought that was a joke. Not a thing. That actually probably would have been, because I remember the part where she's like, he turned off the planet, and that is such a mic drop. It's such a mic drop. And at the end of the first one, it was like, so he's done this whole thing to avoid dying, and not dying is as simple as and you're good. Like, really?
Yeah.
All right.
That's all it took.
But here's the thing, though. Doing the same song, this is one of the few movies where if the sequel does the same thing, don't even start with that.
It did not do that at all.
Well, it kind of did.
No,
but then it twisted it, and that's the thing. It started.
Yeah.
It
was the same setup.
Right. Well, it tricks you into thinking that's what's going to happen.
Right.
And then they give you these curveballs left and right, and you're like, oh. Truthfully, I went into that movie liking it for the things that I knew I would like, and being okay with what I knew would be wrong, and was pleasantly surprised that I was wrong about what I thought I wouldn't like.
Death by basketball.
Yeah, that was really cool. But I remember thinking, like, did he really do that? To find out that he actually did it, I'm like, that's such a boss thing.
Talk about aliens.
I know. Sigourney Weaver.
She does that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the looks on their faces are all like, they actually did it. Sorry.
No. I just saw that too. Like, I had no idea. Yeah. But no, like, it's first of all, like, he's a good actor. That's cool. He's really cool at being, a cool anti-hero. But I did. So I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but every time you've ever met me, I wear the same clothes.
You? Nope. Never noticed it.
I always wear black T-shirts, and I always only wear black T-shirts because of him.
Oh, okay.
I
thought it was an Arthur Fonzarelli thing.
Who?
The Fonz from Happy Days. Never mind. It's bad. Henry Winkler? Do you know who that is? You don't like Scream, so you wouldn't know those movies?
I'm agreeing with you. I know.
Please, oh, thank God. When you said Jumping the Shark, and I was like, does he not know what Jumping the Shark means?
I know what it is. No.
Okay.
See, I played this game with Mark where I make him guess what I actually do. I did not know who Billy Joel was.
Really?
I really didn't know.
Okay.
And so now it's a troll to him where he says things where I know I'm supposed to obviously know it, and I'm just kind of like, I'm gonna let you guess.
I'm not gonna ask. There you go.
It's a fun game.
But anything to annoy him, I'm fine with.
Right?
Yeah.
That is my number 5 or 5.5, whatever. But I'm trying to think. I actually wrote down. So yeah, this was the thing. It was also the thing that would inevitably set up what I liked about genres. So it was future-ish.
Right.
It was post-apocalyptic-ish.
Right.
And then it turns out that like that sort of is like that future adjacent is like my favorite movie eras. They wind up always being there, like just a little far in the future.
Yeah.
Not so much that everything's weird. Like Minority Report was just far enough away.
Right.
To not be able to grab it. But not so far away you can't imagine a world there.
Right. Right.
So it's always like that set me up for that.
All right. I dig that. Good picks.
I appreciate that.
All right. So my number 5 is his portrayal of Stuntman Mike in Death Proof.
It's a match!
I was biting my tongue, but I didn't want to say, it's a match! But, God, such a great film. Okay, I mentioned earlier when you drove up in your car, I was like, dude, we have to play Ship's Mast. Okay, and I think I kind of caught you off guard.
Yep.
Ship's Mast is the game that Zoe Bell plays on the hood of the 1970 Dodge Charger RT. That's what she's playing. It's called Ship's Mast. They talk about it real quick because you use the 2 leather belts and you hold on like you're holding onto a ship's mast.
Oh.
So that's what I was saying when you drove up. That's what we do, is play Ship's Mast.
They do that in Mythbusters.
Oh, yeah? Oh, awesome. So that is an incredible... It's actually a Dodge Challenger 440 Magnum RT. So, have you ever seen Vanishing Point, the movie they reference that car is from?
No.
Okay. It's a really interesting film. Um, it doesn't have, it's not action packed, but you see a lot of that car being used on like a cross country kind of race type thing. If you ever get a chance, check it out. It's good. But one of the things I love about this role is because it's like you said, it's like him kind of cranked up and shifted over just a little bit. You see so much of him in the character, and he's such a, just a bad guy, and he's, the way he does, these women, he chases after them and kills some of them, but at the very end, when they catch him and start beating the crap out of him, and he's crying, I just like, that's one of his best performances right there. It's so over the top,
right.
The way that he's, and the girls are getting it done type deal. I just love it. I've watched this movie a dozen times probably. It's one of those that you can just put on and just go. And it's kind of like two movies. It really is. So, interestingly enough, the term death proof came from when Quentin Tarantino was on a all-night binger with Sean Penn, and he said, I think we're too drunk to drive, and Sean said, well, that's okay, I've got like a 1982 Volvo, it's death proof. And that stuck with him all along to come up with the car idea. So I think it was a perfect role for Kurt Russell.
For sure.
Like we talked about earlier, like you said, it's just like he just slips right into it, and you're like, God, I don't want to like this guy, but man, he's smart. And the way he eats nachos, it's something else. It's just something else.
Oh.
And then we can't go without mentioning Dave D, Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and Tish, because when they come on the radio, all hell breaks loose. That's the end of the first half, when he's driving the Nova.
Oh. Okay, I was like, what?
And the other thing about this movie is I love the soundtrack.
Oh, yes.
So, it's a great movie. So, anyway, that is my number 5. We are now ready to hear your number 4.
Okay. My number 4 is a lot of people's number 1s, and it's Tombstone.
Okay.
Now,
great film.
Now, it is a good film, but one of my favorite things about this movie is that, as far as I can remember, and you'll probably remember more because you're better at knowing movie things than me, I think he's the only person to smack Billy Bob Thornton around and live.
Well, Angelina Jolie.
I'm pretty sure this is the reason why she left him. Like, I just remember thinking, like, because I saw this movie as a kid, and it never connected to me that he is Sling Blade.
Yeah.
And so, like...
That's some mustard on his biscuits.
Well, and then I saw it, and then, like, the rant where he's like, skin the smoke wagon. And I'm like, as a child, you don't know what that is. And then as an adult, I'm like, oh, he means gun. Yeah. like, you don't, like, first of all, like Western colloquialisms for a kid that grew up in Baton Rouge is just, no.
Yeah.
So, it also, why are you letting an 11-year-old watch this? But I watched it, and I got nothing. As an adult watching it, I'm like, this is why Angelina Jolie left him. Yeah, Billy Bob Thornton got smacked around. But...
Well, I don't know, but look at Worf. He got smacked around like every other week, and he still had a girl.
Worf is an alien.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that he just by...
Yeah.
What?
No, he's both alien. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But...
Anyway, you were
saying. So one of the...
I digress.
Well, I like the movie more now, knowing... and I've never had any reason to know this, but I actually did a deep dive personally on Doc Holliday.
Okay.
Finding out that he was a real person.
Yeah.
That he was really friends with Wyatt Earp. Like, these are real people.
Right.
This was a real place. Now, whether or not anything that happened in this movie is real is neither here nor there.
I do believe some people did shoot other people in
probably,
real life.
Yeah, for sure. I also know that the ending of when Doc dies is how Doc died.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't give any context, but he always wanted to die with his boots on, which meant die in a firefight.
Right.
So he looks down at his boots and he says, "That's funny," just because he didn't want to die without his boots on. But like, I love his portrayal of Wyatt Earp, knowing nothing at all about Wyatt Earp. I just liked him being Wyatt Earp.
Right.
I like that Sam Elliott, like the Men of Men, is in this movie, just being a man.
And the mustache of mustaches.
Correct. Well, I don't know. Him and Wyatt Earp were kind of like both pulling handlebars on this.
Sam Elliott, his mustache has its own Twitter feed, so I'm just saying. It literally does. And it's actually tweeted to me before.
Anyway. I mean, that's funny, but I'm kind of terrified now. Because I've seen the Family Guy episode where Sam Elliott's character is farming mustaches. And there are a lot. This is so true. Okay, there is an episode where he becomes the mayor of whatever town it is of Quahog. Yes, Sam Elliott plays a character that becomes the mayor of Quahog.
That's too funny.
And he is the cousin of Adam West.
Oh,
in this cartoon.
Okay.
But yeah, they go to his ranch and he's got baby mustaches. And it is the weirdest, most it's like surreal art, and it's terrifying. But anyway, but no, like I loved that movie. I will say though, it seems like the first half of the movie is his movie, and the second half of the movie is Val Kilmer's.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like that?
No, absolutely.
Like
now, and I'll tell you, this is a movie that I've watched a couple of times. That's about it. Mm-hmm. I enjoy westerns, especially a western like that done right, but it's not something that goes in my heavy rotation.
Right.
So I do remember it being very heavy in the end, and then you were kind of like grasping for. But Val Kilmer also did an incredible job in this movie. Everybody, Bill Paxton, was it Paxton or Pullman?
It was Paxton.
Paxton, yeah. So many of those people, that makes it a great movie. Like I said, just not in my wheelhouse to watch it over and over again. So it's not on my list.
I'm not going to remember to do this later, so I'm going to do it now. At one point in time, you need to play a game of 5 Degrees of Bill Paxton.
Okay.
Because he is one of the most common names I hear pop up in your show for no reason. Like he just...
No, for multiple reasons.
Well, yes, but like the first episode I ever listened of yours was Bill Paxton's.
Okay, with Kathy.
Correct.
She loves Bill Paxton.
I could tell.
Yeah.
And but like I started noticing how often that name would pop up, and I'm like, man,
he shows up
everywhere.
in the Aliens episode. He shows up in, I think we talked about even the Twisters, where we're talking about action films. Just I'll have to do that, or make it into a shot game. One of the two.
Okay, look, my liver's not very good. I don't want to lose that one. But okay, well, I have done Tombstone.
Okay. So I will turn around and give you my number 4, which is the aforementioned Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China. Right. This is such a weird, fun, just what the hell is gonna happen next movie. One of my 2 big nicknames. One of them is Hulk Boy from Hollywood. Okay. The other is Pork Chop. So the fact that his truck is the Pork Chop Express, just I love it. So it's a lot of fun. If you've never seen it, be prepared. It's all about Jack Burton, who drives an 18-wheeler, and he ends up getting in between a fight between 2 rival mystical gangs, and then there is a green-eyed girl and another green-eyed girl and a floating eyeball with things coming off of it, and James Hong. That's all you got to say is James Hong. He's perfect. And this is another movie that has a sequel in the comic books. So it's really great. It lasts for, 20 plus issues. And it literally takes up as the truck is driving off and the creature is coming up from the back. It's so great.
It's just immediately, boom.
It's just right there. Doesn't even lose a beat, Why do I like this? Because he is so dumb, okay? But he's he wants to be a hero. He doesn't know how to be, but he still ends up being a hero. One of the best in the whole movie is when he kisses Kim Basinger. I'm not Kim Basinger. Can't think of her name right now. Valeris from Star Trek 6. But anyway, and then they pull apart. He's got the red lipstick on for like the next 15 minutes of the movie. Like nobody tells him.
Okay.
Kim Cattrall.
That's it.
That's it.
It's a fun movie.
It is.
But there is one very specific part that I'm just like, and it's when the head.
Yeah. You don't like that?
Nope.
That's the one, the eyeball head? Yeah.
That bothered me just a lot. And that's another movie that I watched way too young.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, maybe like 7 when I watched this movie with my parents, and
it's just so over the top. It takes like martial art movies and throws horror into it and just mixes it all up with a big spoon and just shovels it out on the screen for you.
I'm pretty sure the day that I watched that, I had just watched like The Perfect Weapon,
which
was like the most PG-13 of all action films.
Yeah, you need a good Jackie Chan movie to like clean your palate.
Right, but like I remember like that movie was a wild ride for sure, and I had definitely watched it since being a child, but I've never gotten over the big head.
Yeah,
like it's like I watched the movie just waiting for that moment to hate it.
Yeah,
like
yeah. So what we could do is we could do this. What I did for my youngest daughter, Abby. She loved The Wizard of Oz, but she only liked the parts in color, and she did not like the flying monkeys. So I sat down and dubbed her Abby's version of The Wizard of Oz.
That's
it
fantastic.
Starts when the door opens, skips over the monkeys, and then ends before it gets back when she goes to leave the home. And so some people just want to watch the movie in some way they want to watch.
So you made her a 15-minute Wizard of Oz movie.
Yeah, I had to cut out the hanging ghosts from the tree too. No, I didn't do that. But no, so I understand why you don't necessarily like this. I think it's a fun ride, and I suggest. As a matter of fact, it's one of my treasures. Is I still have my 2-disc version that I bought from Suncoast Video in our mall, and it still has the receipt in it. So love it.
That's nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's pop on over and hear what your number 3 is.
Okay. I'm going to preface this.
Okay.
As on principle, this movie did not age well. However, I'm attached to it by virtue of my own nostalgia.
Okay.
And that's Overboard.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Captain Ron.
No, but I am going to mention that later.
Okay.
So, when I was a kid, my mother and I, whenever I got kicked out of a summer camp, we would watch MASH, Golden Girls, and then we would pop into the VHS of Overboard.
All right.
And I was enamored by the dumbest of things. Like, I remember this movie made me want to play mini golf. Because
well, I know there's a huge Abraham Lincoln,
and like I was like, I didn't know what mini golf was. I was a kid, and then like I was like, I want to go play mini golf, and then I like and like I loved this film, and then I grew up and realized, oh, he's a psychological terrorist who kidnapped a woman, like so many felonies,
so many,
and I'm like, oh. And then I'm like, okay, so now I had to write this down because I can't remember it. Stockholm Syndrome is apparently the thing that prevents him from going to prison? I'm like, oh boy. Like, as a kid, you're just like, yeah, that's right, mean lady, take that. And then it's like, oh, the mean lady likes the, okay. And I felt like, I remember thinking like, you're a kid, you don't know what catharsis is, but like, I remember thinking, aw, happy ending. And now I'm like, whoa. That woman needed help.
Yes, she did. And she didn't get it from him.
And then also, what a gaggle of dumb friends. What a gaggle of dumb friends. I do not subscribe to the idea that you are who you hang out with, but I remember thinking, like, why is he so much more handsome than all of his friends?
True.
Like,
so much more.
Like, wait a minute. where do they get the rest of them? Like, you have Goldie Hawn, and you I remember thinking this as a kid. Why are they so pretty?
Mm-hmm. So they're even prettier.
Well, this is what my father says. Mm-hmm. They were higher paid.
There you go.
He was like, they saved money on the rest of them. He was very net. He was very honest.
Yeah.
He was just like, they were cheaper.
That's right.
Got it. Okay. Still didn't know what that meant, but like, got it.
There you go.
Oh man, but yeah. So I love that movie. It's an objectively terrible film. I think that it's fun. I think that it's funny. I think that it aged horribly, and I will still watch it with my mother because that's why I love that movie.
Right. No, that's an excellent jump. And that's the thing is that so many people today cannot go and they want to look through today's lens at a movie and just condemn it.
Right.
Where we attach so much more nostalgia in something that, you know what, we never thought of it like that. It wasn't portrayed like that, you know. We know it's wrong now.
Right.
But anyway, no, I'm with you. That's an excellent choice.
Okay. Your turn?
So my turn is going to be a movie we've already talked about. that I did not slap you across the head with. I am talking about R.J. McCready in The Thing. I love this role for so many reasons, because he just does not give an F about anything.
Right.
You know, aside from himself, this guy is just, you know, the hat. That's his hat. He brought it with him. You know, he learned to fly helicopters during that movie. John Carpenter taught him how to fly. So there's actually a scene in there where he's flying, and he's flying.
I think it's scarier to me that John Carpenter flies helicopters. Like, that's terrifying, but also weird.
Yeah. So there's so many little nuances and little scenes in this movie when he's playing the computer, when he's playing chess against the computer and he loses and he pours his glass of JB on it. I'm like, yeah, we've all felt that. We have all felt that. And then the fact when he is trying to save everybody and they lock him out, and yet he still manages to come and work his way and get back in, and he's just frozen, just shivering, and he's still, instead of just frying everybody and letting God sort it out, he wants to go through the process.
Right.
I think, like you said, though, the Escape from New York movies just really fit him. This movie, I feel he really filled in to this character.
Right.
I don't think at any time that he's like that guy.
Right.
But I think it's a masterful role on how to play. I don't know, just how to play. You know, the whole thing where you don't know who to trust. Can we even trust you, even though we think you're the good guy? And it gets down to the end. It's just, I think he just did an amazing job in this movie.
So, I giving this movie as fair of a shake as I can, and being as honest as I can about it, I think the problem that I have with this movie is that it accomplished its goal way too well for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's ultimately the issue. Is like, it's obvious. It is very clear to me that the issue with this movie was not the movie. It was just I like movies that are not uplifting. That's like such a no. I like movies that like take me out of daily life. And like, I want movies that are just like,
okay.
I like that. And I can get down with some pretty messed up movies as so long as there's a break.
Right.
You know what I mean? This movie never gave you that.
What break is in 7?
Whenever Mills is playing with his dogs.
Okay.
And when Somerset is sitting with Mills's wife.
Okay.
Like, those are breaks that in a very dark and despairing movie, you're just like, oh, okay.
There's some hope there.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, so one of my favorite parts of that movie, and there's no context for it to be like in this conversation, but I'm going to say it, is when Gunny picks up the phone and goes, "This is not even my desk." Click. I was just like, what? Like, like, I didn't even notice the phone was ringing.
And that was not scripted.
What?
That was not scripted.
Oh, it was so great.
Go back and look it up. So, the wife,
Gwyneth
Paltrow, her performance was head and shoulders above anybody else. Or head under shoulders in a box. Either way. It was really great.
Did you ever hear how it was supposed to originally end?
No.
Somerset, the original storyboard was Somerset kills John Doe.
Oh, okay.
And, like, there's a storyboard for it, and he goes, and then the officer, the sergeant shows up and says, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Retiring." And I remember thinking, like, that's an ending I would have preferred.
Yeah.
However, I think John Doe earned his ending.
Yes, he did.
So I'm like, that would have been cooler, but that's a different movie ending.
Right.
I just remember thinking, like, that would have been such a boss ending, though.
Yeah.
For Morgan Freeman to be like, nah, click.
Yeah.
Screw
no,
this.
but it's back to McCready.
Yeah, sorry.
No. I love going off. But back to McCready. It's just great. This was my number 2 until today, and then I switched it back for reasons that we will get into.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. But before we get to that, I think we should take a pause here for a minute to learn a little bit more about David. This is your... Open it up and you can tell us anything you want. Think of it as therapy if you want.
It'll be the cheapest therapy I've ever had.
Yes, it will be until you get the bill.
Look, man, gas is expensive. No, I am not an interesting person.
No, please.
I'm not. Look, dude, no one who wears the same shirt every day can be that interesting, I promise you.
I'm sorry, but I think Albert Einstein did it.
I don't want to be compared to somebody who couldn't tie his shoes and help to make a nuclear bomb. Like,
okay.
Those two things
Fair
together.
Enough. Fair enough.
But no, like
So do you like open the drawer and it's just all black t-shirts?
Sort of, but they're hanging.
Oh, okay.
So like I have the t-shirts. So my friends call it my life uniform.
Okay.
I call it my cure to my ADHD.
There you go.
And it's because I am paralyzed by my indecision with clothes. I have so many shoes that it's hard to do that.
Oh, really?
And most of them are black and white.
So you see these shoes?
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 pair of them. Okay. I have the pair that I wear to work. I have the pair that I do like stuff outside in the yard stuff. And then I have my dress pair that I only wear at nice, things. So I'm with you. When I go to work, and this Annabelle, this young lady who works there, she has caught onto it before. I open it up. I have a drawer full of Old Navy V-neck T-shirts, and then I close it, and then I have a drawer over here with 3 of the exact same pants I got from Sam's in 3 different colors, and a pair of jeans. So all I got to do is just open, pull up here, pull out here, and I'm ready to go.
You know, the irony of the story is that you're currently wearing that, and I'm pretty sure that's the only thing I've ever seen you wear. And I know for a fact that I'm just saying, I have a Polaroid of you in that shirt. And
I actually switched for my V-neck when I got home.
There it is. Like, I'm hearing this and I'm looking at that like, that Old Navy doesn't sell this. Unless you got a really nice sponsorship.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay.
Right? And Old Navy, I'm open to it if you want me to. Because I love...
Are they still open?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought you just had them.
Oh, I do. But I'll tell you my jeans, and this is just way more information than you need. My jeans are actually St. John's Bay, which is from JCPenney's, okay? And they're regular fit, tapered, and they don't make them anymore. So the pair of jeans that I have now that I wear to work, I bought off of eBay. And I paid less than I paid for them in the store. So
that's hilarious.
When I like something, I get it. I usually get multiples of it. So I could totally go with you. But I would like to hear about your life behind the lens.
Oh, which part?
Just, I don't know, what that's about.
So, I needed a very, very abrupt career change because I had a very, we'll call it an interesting history in the medical field.
Okay. Which
I worked in the lab, but because I worked an 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift, I was inundated with like a lot of, we'll call it unfortunate sights. Mm-hmm. Because I had the key to the morgue and I had to be the nightly attendant for that kind of thing. So gotcha. When the place that I worked was closing, I was like, all right, I need a new thing. It's the strangest, dumbest story. I entered a graphic design contest, came in 4th, and was given a gift card to Dell.
Oh, okay.
And I already had a computer, so I used it to buy a Canon camera. And I used the Canon camera to just kind of play around. And then I bought a lens from a guy on Craigslist.
You fell off the truck.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But he sold me this lens, and when I went to meet him, we started talking about cars. Because he had a really cool car. And he was like, have you shot any weddings? I had photographed a friend of mine's wedding and did not do a good job. So
I somewhere.
Right? And so I photographed that wedding. He asked me if I did one, and using the most generous descriptor of that, I was like, yeah, I photographed a friend of mine's wedding.
Which is true.
Yeah, it was so technically true.
That's right.
But that guy said, oh, okay, well, I need an assistant this weekend. It pays $150 a day. Are you interested? I was like, yes. I worked for the state. I had hundreds of hours of vacation time. So I was like, yeah, sure, let's do this. So I shoot Friday.
Getting away from the morgue.
Correct.
And go shoot weddings. Okay.
Yeah, well, I took the weekend off. Working for the state, one of the great things about having worked for the state was you basically just don't have to show up for work, and there's nothing they can do about it.
That's true.
So I called ahead because it was like a Wednesday. I was just like, hey, I'm not working Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and they're like, okay, and that was it. So I wrote a letter to the timekeeper, not coming. I worked for him. I worked that Friday. He said, huh, this isn't bad. Are you working Saturday or Sunday? I was like, nope. I took off the weekend because my plan was going to work this and just take off the weekend.
Right.
Well, he was like, well, do you want to? So the first weekend I ever actually shot weddings as a semi-pro, I shot 3.
Oh, okay.
And have you ever heard the phrase, we're going to throw you in the water to see if you can swim?
No.
Okay.
Never.
Well, I was thrown off a cliff to see if I could fly.
Wow.
Because I shot 3 for 3. They call it a 3-day gauntlet.
With him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But the first wedding venue I ever shot was a place called Race and Religious in New Orleans, and it is one of the most expensive and sought-after venues that exist in this state.
Okay.
And that's pressure. So I literally, in 1 week, changed my entire career. And now I photograph weddings. I do some part-time photojournalism. I've done stuff that was in the paper.
Yeah, I've seen some of your work, man. It's really nice.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You got a little envelope for me?
You can have this piece of paper, and it is worth absolutely nothing because it's got my next 2 answers on it. However, but no, I get really weird about accolades and stuff. So, like, but yeah, photography is definitely been an interesting world, and it has brought me to a lot of weird and awesome places. Like, I did work for the Wall Street Journal, and when I was doing work for them, I was in Mississippi, and I met so many people, and I'd learned something then. I love photojournalism. I cannot be a photojournalist. Like, that's a depressing job, man. But do you remember the flood in 2016?
Yeah.
Okay. So during the flood in 2016 in Baton Rouge, me and some friends of mine went around of our own volition, and we started photographing people like
that was like the Denham Springs area was just like
it was Denham Central, Zachary.
Right. I have friends that live out there.
Right. So
John Schneider lives out there.
Right, and the people got 8 feet of water.
Yeah.
And so what we did was we rode around, we photographed portraits of people with their debris, and I remember thinking at the time, like, we're not getting nearly enough attention. And so we got contacted by the Advocate, and then we got interviewed, and then it just kind of blew up. It was really weird and scary, because, like, it went from the Advocate to People, from People to the Weather Channel. And I was like, oh, boy. And then we ended up with a museum exhibit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I had a live interview on television that I walked away from.
Oh, Shaq.
Like, no, I look, this is fine because whoever out there, hi guys, all of those people, they're not real.
Right.
We're talking, and this is...
Well, 23 of them are.
Well, sure. Yeah. And eventually Mark has already said he can't wait to hear this because he knows that my answers are stupid. He literally said Jamie does not know what he's getting into. Because I have paradoxical answers.
That's okay.
But
it's about your favorites. And
true.
What the hell does Mark know anyway? Come on.
So far, nothing useful.
Thank you. He sure don't know how to count honorable mentions. Did you hear the story about how his dad fussed him because when he came on he had 5 lists of 5, I think is how it went, and afterwards his dad said, "Mark, come on, the guy has some rules," and I love that so much. Mr. Sino, thank you.
Hold on, so you brought up his dad. I get to tell this story. Sorry, Mark. So
I love it.
All right, so I meet his dad. His dad recently is selling a house in New Orleans. I was helping him clean out this house. By the way, his dad gave me an amazing soundbar.
Oh, awesome.
Right, and a chair that I'm going to set on fire.
Oh, okay.
Photo shoot thing. It's going to be great.
Sure it is.
So I meet Mark's dad. Mark's tall.
Yeah.
His dad is taller.
Wow.
Right, and I was just not prepared for that. So his dad also has a full head of hair.
Okay.
So when I met his father, I was like, well, I see where he gets his height, but where the heck's he get the hair? And I could just see Mark go, And immediate 30 seconds later, I have walked off, and Mark tells me his dad goes, I like that guy. I was just like, yes! I swear, I actually had to go, hey man, did I offend you? Like, I'm sorry.
Because if I did, I've got to keep on this path. Oh,
well, it was hilarious. I just, like, I had met him in 30 seconds, and I was like, all right, cool. So me and Mark rib each other a lot, but I don't even think he was prepared for that.
Dad!
Right? No, he totally, 40-year-old man doing that, because he really was just like, hey! That may have been the only time in our whole friendship where I actually had the upper hand in a joke.
That's awesome.
It was a good day.
He deserves it. He deserves it.
Yes.
And you guys do the candy at certain cons, the freeze-dried candies.
Well, if the cons will allow us to, yes.
Right.
But we do freeze-dried candy. We own I have a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
So does he though. So we have Trick or Treat Candy Company, which started. My whole life is so random.
I remember the genesis of this.
Yeah, we were at a baseball card show. I don't like baseball cards.
Yeah.
But I just happened to be off that weekend, and which is the rarest of things because my number one days to work are Fridays and Saturdays.
Sure.
But we went to a baseball card show. We never really hung out one-on-one, and I don't like baseball cards, so I'm with a dude I don't hang out with doing a thing I don't do in a city I don't live in, and I'm just like, okay, making the best of it. And we walk around, we see freeze-dried candy. I don't really eat candy that much. Mm-hmm. I like cookies and stuff, but not candy.
Right.
But I like Bit of Honey.
Freeze-dried cookies. Anyway, sorry.
I saw Bit of Honeys, which is one of the only candies I like.
Oh, really?
And so I bought those, and then we're walking to the parking lot, and I had just got the settlement from a car wreck, and I had just totaled my 370Z.
Okay.
Seeing a theme with the cards, all being douchey. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
No, but I was not going to say that.
I'll show you. It is. But I had just got the settlement, so he and I were just like, hey, you want to... Like, again, we not really hung out.
Right.
We played D&D together, and that's how we bonded. Like, we bonded basically by trolling our friend who runs the game.
Okay.
By, like, consistently breaking the game.
That's fun.
But,
Tracks.
Right? We are agents of chaos. But anyway, so we go to this con, and we start that. We took, between buying the candy and going to the car, we decide we're going to start a freeze-dried candy company.
Okay, well, it's not that long of a walk, but still.
Exactly. That's the sad part. I was like, I like this candy. I want to make this candy. And he goes, we should sell this candy. I went, we should sell this candy. And I went, do you want to buy one?
Yes.
Literally 2 days later, the machine had shipped. Like, that is how awfully random my whole life is.
Yes.
And then that parlayed into us having candy. He gets the logo made, and I'm obsessed with the logo.
With Little Vic.
Correct, Little Vic.
Yeah.
And so he and I are doing the whole thing, and I'm like lingering on Little Vic. Who, if
you haven't seen it yet, he's kind of like a Charlie Brown style character, but he is a kid with a candy bag over his head.
But yeah,
that he can breathe through.
Correct. And so that was actually the funny thing. Like, the peanut style was me obsessing over branding, which is ironic because I don't do branding. I'm like the worst business owner of the planet. And so I just remember thinking, like, our character to me is cooler than our product. Like, and it was the shamest of all things. Like, I remember thinking, I like our logo. I like our logo so much for pure vanity's sake. I took the shirts that I buy and had 3 of them made by our friend Peter with our logo on it.
Apparel?
Yeah. Booties and apparel.
Booties and apparel.
Yeah, so lovely people.
Yes.
Oh my God.
All intents, I've never conversed with them, but Mark goes on and on about.
Oh, they're fantastic. We eat lunch with them as often as we can. I cannot get enough of those people. They are wonderful. And Peter is our graphic artist, and so I had the idea. I was like, hey, like, we need to do more. And so I was like, why don't we do something like Peanuts? Why don't we have little comic strips where we have Vic and his friends? And so we started kind of going off on, like, how can we expand? And we have done some silly things. Like, we did soap. I don't know why. I think it's because me and Mark like soap. But we were just like, let's take the soap and we're going to put the Vic on it and we're going to have Vic soap. And then, just because reasons. And
maybe you should make a balm that you can apply to your chest that smells.
Maybe.
That could be Vicks. Never mind.
Oh, man, that was good.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm dense. But point is,
comic strips, you've got stickers.
We've got
bags now.
We got bags. But here's how far this has gone. So we have our friend Wesley, who is great at, who does the books and stuff with Mark. And Mark and Wesley did a tabletop game,
right?
Which has become our personalities at this point, honestly. Like, never played D&D until I met this crew, and apparently it's like a third of my life.
This is Escape from Camp Tum Tum.
Correct.
Right. Mark has a copy for me the next time I see him.
And here's the thing. I am not a good tabletop player. I'm one of the worst.
Okay.
I had an incredible time.
Good. Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's very fun.
Oh, it's
super easy to learn and play.
It's easy to learn. It's easy to play, and it gives you every opportunity to be a psychopath you can think. The whole game, like 100% verifiable by everyone at the table. The whole game, like I just kept trying to set things on fire and succeeded. Like I just kept.
I set it on things on the table or in the game? Okay.
Like in game, like I remember, like I had a rope. Somebody else had a lighter, and I was like, lighter, rope, fuse.
That's right.
Let's set their shit on fire, and they all just kind of did this. Okay.
But it works, right?
It does.
It works.
And no, totally. And I was like, I had to roll. I rolled. They're like, of course he does. So like you get to just kind of, it's all the wanton craziness. Point is, they did this tabletop game, and now we have an emerging tabletop game for Little Vic and Friends. So what started off as a logo for our candy company is now turning into a potential. Mark is working on ideas for a children's book. We have our comic strip.
Right.
We have, the two different types of games that we're talking about doing. We're gonna, we're hopefully, hopefully we're gonna have somebody who can make 3D printable figures of the Vic and Friends.
I recently met somebody who has 2 3D printers. I'll have to think about that and get back to you.
Quit making fun of me. Yes, I have also 3D printers, and those are not for making money. Those are just for me to be fun with. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, no, the amount of things that I do keep stacking, and I keep running out of time to do my actual job.
Just sleep. Do you really? How much do you need?
Dude, I am on 300 something milligrams of caffeine right now, and I have the other 100 in the car to get home.
There you go. There you go.
Hopefully my heart does not explode before I get there. The burger will mellow me out.
I was gonna say, just as long as you finish the show, then we're all right.
Look, I will stay alive long enough to get whatever burger we end up with, man. I will survive for food. Okay?
All right.
But I you know what? For the most part, that's pretty much it. Like I specialize in wedding photography. That is my bread and butter, and it is the place where I get to express all the energy that I have contained because I work from home unless I'm shooting, as it were.
The camera.
Yeah. And that's kind of the thing, like, I'm so kind of trapped in my own home unless I'm going to the gym, and I don't really, like, so we play D&D on every other Tuesday, and then I go to the gym, and then I stay at home and I edit. So these weddings where, like, all of the energy comes out. Yeah. Which is why I seem sort of manic now. It's because I don't really talk that much.
Oh. Well, I'm glad that you're talking. I'm glad that you're here. And thank you for making the trip.
Dude,
really surprised me. I thought we were going to be Zooming. So, this is awesome.
I don't like to Zoom with my clients. I'm not going to do it for something I want to enjoy. But yeah, that's pretty much... that's as much about me as I think is interesting. Why don't we find out what your... by the way, I learned in real time what penultimate means because of you.
Wow.
And I know a lot of... Like, I read a lot. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. But I consume a lot of literature. Okay. Never had that word in a book yet.
There you go. You're not reading the right books.
What, yeah.
I don't know where it came from either. I just did it somewhere.
Did it make
I'd have to go back and see who actually said it.
It's first. One of the word a day things. You hear it and you're like, mine.
Yeah. I have, and you'll see it here. You ever watch Supernatural?
No.
Okay, so in the show, there's the two brothers.
Yeah. I'm familiar with the memes.
The sound bit is, who says penultimate? It comes from that. So.
So I have two words that come from my favorite. I will allow this to go back on track. I swear. But phantasmagoric and incredulous.
Okay.
Phantasmagoric is I can't remember, but it's I think Dean Koontz.
Okay.
He uses the word phantasmagoric a lot.
All right.
Which I
Great
only knew.
author.
Right. And then Craig Johnson, who does the Longmire novels, of which there are like 26 now.
Yeah.
And I've done all of them.
Wow. We should do Longmire episodes.
Huh?
We should do Longmire episodes. Done? Love that show. You know his deputy, the kind of pudgy guy?
Yeah.
We see him everywhere.
Really?
Yes.
I want to meet him so much.
Just everywhere. We just saw him on an episode of Bones.
Really?
Of all things. He was a coked up day trader.
Really?
Yes.
That's
with
hilarious.
with prostitutes all over his house.
You know what's funny is the only thing that brought me to Longmire was Katie Sackhoff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I followed her to the show, and then I followed the show to the book.
Yeah. I mean, if Wolowitz gets to have a bath with her, I think we should at least be able to meet her in real life.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. She's a huge fan of the show. She's probably watching right now.
Doubt it.
Yeah. No, don't doubt it. Just don't say anything.
So I'm gonna start checking your tracking. That'd be great. But no, I don't even remember what I was talking
So
about.
you were talking about the use of incredulous.
Right. So yeah, so Craig Johnson uses the word incredulous, and these are two words that I've desperately been trying to work into conversation just so I can see the.
Yeah. Well, and now you have a third.
Yeah.
You're welcome to it. You're welcome to it.
See, I'm going to use it on Mark.
As a matter of fact, why don't we use it right now?
Okay.
And let's talk about you ready? Penultimate Kurt Russell role.
All right, hold on. Where's my sheet? Because I've already forgotten. There it is. Oh, wow, did I forget that one. Tango and Cash.
Oh, my God. Isn't he a pretty woman? I worked in a video store when this came out on VHS. I have watched this movie a dozen times.
So, first of all, I didn't even... So, funny thing about Terry Hatcher is, yes, she is incredibly hot in this movie, but I didn't even know that she was Lois and Clark.
Really?
Two very different ages.
Yeah. True.
That, you know what I mean? Like, I watched the first time I watched Tango and Cash. I hope you're seeing a pattern here. I was like 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
I was my dad. That was like our bonding time was working out or watching action films.
Okay.
That was bonding time with Dad. So like I watched that. So like Terry Hatcher, like I didn't connect it to as a pretty lady. I just remember thinking she looks like she's gonna hurt somebody. You know what I mean? Fair assumption
right.
too. But and then, eventually I saw Lois and Clark. I'm like, why does she look so familiar? And I saw Tango and Cash, and I'm like, oh, that's why.
That's who she is.
There it is. Got it. But, so Tango and Cash accomplishes a lot of things. It's my first experience with a buddy cop movie.
Okay.
And in my opinion, it was Bad Boys before Bad Boys was Bad Boys. Okay. Because the part where they are
Was it a good Bad Boys?
Yes.
Okay.
It was whenever they are arguing as the distraction, and then they hit the dude. I'm like, that's the thing that they do in every Bad Boys movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's their
what
shtick.
Thor does with Loki.
That's true.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the shtick where it's like, and it's, I love it also. I think it's the only time in his entire career where Sly gets to play the sophisticated one.
Exactly.
The only time.
I was waiting because I didn't want to say it. I recently watched Escape Plan, where he is extremely intelligent. But he doesn't play it like he played in Tango and Cash.
Right.
And I love it because it is so out of the box for him.
Right.
And he does manage to pull it off.
Right. Well, Sly does have range that I don't think he gets enough credit for, but he is kind of just a bullheaded character most of the time. And even if he's conniving, even if he, you know what I mean, like, this was such a departure. Like, the closest thing to it was Demolition Man, but even Demolition Man was kind of a Neanderthal.
Yeah.
Like, but in this movie, he got to be the sophisticated, clean-cut guy.
Right.
And
Kurt Russell got
Kurt,
to be... He
just got to be Kurt Russell.
Yes. And
like,
he gets the girl.
And, yep.
Does he get the girl?
But the escape was so good. And I remember thinking, much to my parents' chagrin, I started thinking like, oh, I'm going to just throw something over this line and sling down it. And then I didn't connect the dots that, like, physics were a thing or that pitch and
Friction.
angle were a thing. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I took a towel and tried to slide down a drying line that was older than me at my grandparents' house. And all that I managed to do was jump in the air, rip the line down, and crash into the ground.
Breaking.
I didn't break anything,
Oh, okay.
but my parents thought I did because I screamed relentlessly.
This should have worked!
Oh, I was just a ninny. And my parents were like, what were you thinking? And I couldn't, like, articulate. I wanted to do movie things.
Yeah.
Like, I just wanted to be an action star.
Dad?
Yeah.
I don't know where he gets that. I've never seen that.
Well, I think it was just so absurd that they didn't even know what I was going for. I just was just like...
Most kids would jump off with a towel to see if they could make a parachute.
Yeah, no, I was trying to zip line on a clothesline.
Yeah.
Hey, look, at least it wasn't a power line.
This is true. This is true.
But I definitely tried to do the wee, and just all I accomplished was...
Yeah.
All right.
So, back to the movie, though.
Yeah.
Because it is a great buddy cop film.
It is.
I mean, the 80s and the early 90s had so many different ones. Mm-hmm. This one does stand out.
I argue that it is more entertaining than the first Lethal Weapon, because this movie did serious things, funny things, action things, and they were very well married.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, like, from beginning to end, you're never bored.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like it almost
there's motorcycles, exotic dancers. There's the good cops, the bad cops. Yes.
So
from you everywhere.
Right. So the 80s from front to back.
Yeah.
So I'm never bored, and I think that, like, if ever there was a movie that I wished had been turned into a franchise,
mm-hmm.
it was this one.
Oh yeah, that would have been cool.
And there's so many reboots right now. This is one thing where I'm just like, hey guys, like, come on, like,
one of them could be the police chief, and the other one could be the head mob guy. I'm just saying.
Oh man,
Two
that's
new
so
guys.
true.
Yeah.
Like, but this is definitely one franchise where I'm just like, this is actually perfect.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like it was so well beloved and it had a legacy. It was a cool movie.
Yeah. And
I thought it was wonderful, and I thought, hey, I don't know. I still watch. I think that this movie still definitely stands up to, like, I hate this word. I'm not trying to force it, but I can't think of anything else. So much of that genre feels contrived.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean.
And this movie, for all of its silliness...
I'll go look it up later, but I know what you mean.
The only... Like, I remember the one thing, looking back on it, like, that doesn't hold up is, like, the absurd rifle scope on the revolver.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
Damn, it looked cool.
It did, right?
I don't care how long that barrel was. It's not going to make a difference.
I was like, what was it with those guns that they were just like, let's put these giant scopes on it? I mean... Anyway, like, practically speaking, it's just silly, but also, wow. But,
damn cool.
Very much. And, but yeah, no, Tango and Cash, definitely one of my favorites. Very weird departure for Stallone that he has never done since and hadn't done before. And then, it's Kurt Russell in his, like, most Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Like, it just, like, okay,
He
cool.
looked great in it. You know, he just, it was, and again, he gets Terry Hatcher, so.
Yeah.
Should hate him for it, but I don't, because he's Kurt Russell.
I hate him more for getting Goldie Hawn, but anyway.
Yeah.
Like, he actually got Goldie Hawn.
Yes.
But,
Goldie Hawn a lot.
All right, your turn.
So my turn we've already talked about, and I did the exact same. I did the exact same thing. I married Escape from New York with Escape from LA.
Really? That's awesome.
Because I do feel that is his role, not just that the movie here is better and the movie here is better. I do love how he kept a lot of the snake stuff from the first movie going into the second. But the cast of characters changed so greatly, and it's just a very, very, very great role. As a matter of fact, it is Kurt Russell's favorite role. He said it multiple times.
Really?
And Escape from New York is his favorite film. But did you know that was not the first film that he did with John Carpenter?
No.
He actually did a 3-night Elvis movie, what do you call it? A miniseries on TV where Kurt Russell plays Elvis. directed by John Carpenter.
Really?
Yep, I have it if you want to see it sometime. So if you'll look up there on the VHS wall, you'll see
it.
Okay,
I saw it when I walked in. I just didn't want to say anything.
It's
That's
signed by 8 of the cast members, including
fantastic.
Carpenter and Russell and Ernest Borgnine, Adrienne Barbeau. So a very good friend of mine, Aaron, who is one of the very first Rom Pals, gifted it to me. Because he's like, I got this in a state, he lives out in the Pacific Northwest, and there's so much cool stuff out there. But anyway, he's like, yeah, I'll send it to you. And it just shows up. And so that's why it has a place of honor.
That's fantastic.
Yes. So I have Escape from New York. I have it on CED. I have it on beta. I have it on VHS. I have it on Laserdisc. I have it in HD. And I have it in DVD and Blu-ray. Okay? So, if you ask me what my favorite movie of his would be, it would be Escape from New York.
Really?
The role that he plays is incredible. And we've already talked a lot about that, so I won't rehash it, but the way that he plays this character, who he's living in a world where you just can't win. He's been in the military, he's served honorably, he's done all of these things, and he is just done. So he turns to a life of crime.
Right.
There is actually a deleted scene at the very beginning where he gets caught after performing the bank robbery. That scene is actually filmed on the MARTA station outside of the hotels where the Dragon Con is held in Atlanta. And so when I went there, like years ago, I beelined it, and I have a couple of pictures of it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really neat. So it's always going to be one of my favorite roles from him, because I'll watch that movie all the time. I could put it on. I could put the second one on, though it is a little out there. But I could. Geez, there was a time I could probably sit there and just go along with all of the dialogue through the entire movie. Love it, love it, love it.
So, a funny story about me as a kid. So, back in the day, they had these little DC action figures, and not my parents.
Are those the squat ones that were like?
So they were actually really rigid. Like their arms were like this, and they only did that.
Were they kind of tall?
No, these were like that big, little bitty ones.
Oh, you mean the DC superpowers?
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So my dad, we went to a place called Hudson Salvage in Gulfport, Mississippi, and my dad bought an entire box of some that were in like a fire.
Okay.
So he paid like $45, and there were like 40 or 50 action figures, and so I used to carve them up and paint them as other things with model car stuff.
Sure.
I made a Snake Plissken out of a Superman.
Okay.
Because so I painted like the hair further down and did the thing, and then using comic book backer board, I built an air glider.
Oh, wow.
And it would fly it around my house.
That's cool.
And then I would get just yelled at because my dad was like, what did you do? And he would just walk in, and I would have cut up all of his comic book backer boards.
At least they cut up the comic books.
That's
Which,
fair.
by the way, they also did a series after this. And not only does it go into some of his past, it also talks about the future.
Really?
Yeah, where there's a lot of, because of, I guess there was the industry and all of that stuff had put so much into the atmosphere that there were long, hard winters everywhere.
Oh.
So it's really cool if you ever get to see it. There's, again, like 20 or 30 issues to it.
Interesting.
Good stories, though. Good stories. Okay. But that is my, you ready for it? Penultimate choice. I love
Nobody says penultimate.
So what I want to know, I'm really interested, what is your favorite role from Kurt Russell?
Soldier.
You see? Okay, I wondered how you had so much detail on that movie.
So first things first, you remember how I told you, I was like, I'm going to bring up Captain Ron later?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, there is an Easter egg in Soldier where they're showing like his battle history. One of his military titles is Captain Ron.
Get out.
Like, what a weird movie to
That
have
is awesome.
Well, it's just like such a serious movie. And then I'm like, you're gonna throw Captain Ron in there? What? So I've loved Soldier for a really long time, and it was one of those movies that my dad took me to go see. And one of the reasons why I loved it was because I had just seen the Dragon story.
Oh, so it's right in your mind.
Right. So like in my head, he was definitely not the good guy when it started.
Yeah.
Because when the movie starts, he's just a murderer.
Right.
And now you've got the new guy who's going to replace him. And I was a kid, I was just like, yeah. And then it turns like, no, he's the... Okay, well, I guess this has to be the good guy. We're going to see what happens to the guy. So the whole time, you just think he's a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
And like, oh, he's mean to the kid. And meh.
Yeah.
And then he pulls a Rambo. You notice that? Like,
yeah. And it's kind of like a got to throw this here, but an Island of Misfit Toys segue. Because he literally gets thrown onto that planet. Like,
sure,
we're done with you.
And... So this is one of those movies where I have to admit that, like, objectively, this movie is a little absurd.
Well,
but man, I love it. I love it. I love the movie because
that's awesome.
But I love it for so many things. First of all, I'm a huge video game guy.
Mm-hmm.
Halo is my first favorite franchise.
Okay.
And that movie could have been the origin story of Master Chief.
All right.
Because it's like future soldier, programmed from little kids. It's basically the Spartans minus the augmentation, but he has literally no emotional range. Yeah. But
till the last 16th of the film.
Again, I maintain that.
All right,
that
30
was
seconds.
Just heavy breathing.
30 seconds.
It's just stunt breathing.
Indigestion?
Probably.
I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot of dirty water, man. But that movie was such a fun ride.
Okay.
And
I will definitely agree.
And so there were. Do you remember in Total Recall? I know you've seen this movie.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the weirdly polygonal cars?
Yeah.
That's all.
With Johnny Cap.
Right. So that's all I could think of with pretty much all of the rudimentary technology. Mm-hmm. Everything was oddly simplistically polygonal.
Right.
And then the really stupid nuke that was a soccer ball. But that's one of those things where it's like I'm not a person that likes movies that are so bad they're good. Like, mm-hmm. I don't do that.
Okay.
But this is a movie that I liked in spite of how bad I knew parts of it were.
All right.
And I loved I love levity. I think the most emotional range, and this must have just been him as an actor going, my God, it's just when they keep shoveling food onto his plate, because it's like the only time he has a facial expression, because you can just see him go, and he just keeps eating. And I'm just like, what? I love that movie. I think it's one of my favorite roles of his because, in my opinion, it is the most departed from all of his other work. Because he has no range. He has no charisma. He is all brawn.
Yeah.
And he is all willpower. And he will not be stopped. And there's something that is very pure about just silent delivery of total will.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things I loved about it. Was it accomplished a thing that
what a bookend.
Huh?
I said, what a bookend. I start you.
Well, no, that was the part that I found so funny.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you starting with that one, huh? All right.
Here we go.
I was trying so hard to just not talk about it.
You did a good job. You did good. I mean, except for the emotion thing. Then I was like, why is he?
Yeah, no. Yeah, nope. So, but yeah, no, I love that film. It is easily one of my favorites of his. I mean, obviously, it is my favorite of his. And like I said, there were so many things about it that were unique for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's the only character where he doesn't crack a laugh.
Yeah.
That I can think of. I don't think there's ever been a role where he didn't laugh. Dead silent in this one.
Yeah.
It's
definitely the least amount of dialogue he's ever had.
Well, yeah. Pretty sure him saying, "I'm going to kill them, sir," is one of his most BMF lines of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I get it. But yeah. So what is yours, sir?
Good choice, man. Good
appreciate
choice.
That.
All right. Well, it's kind of funny because my favorite role of Kurt Russell of all time is Overboard. Okay, and if you look, there's my VHS of it up over there in the aqua green. Overboard.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but I have to tell you a story, and if you've heard this already, I'm sorry because I've told it before.
Okay.
So I grew up watching Overboard. I saw it in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I say grew up. I was older, but anyway, I watched it all the time on TBS.
Mm-hmm.
If I was coming through and it was on, I would sit down and I would watch it, commercials and everything. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the whole thing. So got married. My wife, the kids, they know that I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So they give me the DVD of it one year for like Father's Day or Christmas, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome! I can watch it whenever I want to. And I go and I put it on, and it starts playing, and the kids start cussing, and I'm like, wait, what? And that's when I realize that I've watched it so much on broadcast TV.
You forgot?
Yes. And then I can't. I'm like, I'll hear especially the oldest of
mm-hmm.
the three. I'm like, what? No, they're not supposed to say that. They're supposed. But anyway, doesn't matter. I love the film. Again, he's a horrible human being.
Mm-hmm.
In any day, but but especially in today, but you kind of are like, yeah. Not only did she not pay him, and he did an incredible job, but she threw his tools overboard, and then kicked him into the water.
Uh-huh.
Okay, horrible lady, and the stuff that he puts her through. Again, you got the whole Stockholm syndrome. That was a perfect description of what she went through,
mm-hmm. because
when she comes out of it. Oh, I love you, Dean.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want my schlub of a husband, and it's all my money.
Arturo! Caterina! Oh my man, I didn't even know who those were back then, but that was my mom's. I told you my attachment to this is very nostalgic, mm-hmm. and so that was my mom's in a perfect world, I'll find my Arturo.
Oh.
And I was just like, you have a husband.
Yeah.
He's right there.
Yeah, but he's not.
No.
He's your dad, but
yeah, he ain't Kurt Russell. Yeah, no, I get it.
So that's always why it's been my favorite role of his of all time. It is not so secret that I'll watch this movie. You look at all of this stuff, you'll see all of this horror. The Blu-ray collection of Friday the 13th, all of this stuff, and then there's Overboard.
Yep.
Right there with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will pull that out and watch it just as often as I would put out any of these movies. And no, I have not watched the remake with Anna Faris. I love Anna Faris, but I am not. Yeah. They swapped the roles. He's a rich guy, and he falls in, and so she tricks him into the stuff.
That's how they made it okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's okay if you do it to a guy. But I'm cutting that out. But I again, it's a comfort film, and I will watch it anytime that it's on, no matter what point of it is. So
yeah, I think it's definitely one of those things that it has. I remember as a kid rallying the party. Dr. Death, come on, we're going to get Mom back.
Yeah.
What's funny though is as I got older and my parents had remarried, it never even kind of occurred to me to refer to either of them as Mom or Dad.
Oh yeah.
It's just really? Yeah. Already, Mom? Okay.
Yeah. And I guess too because the wife had been gone for so long.
Yeah.
But it's just it makes you a little sick at your stomach, but it also gets you in the
Well, it's the kids are the winners in that one.
They are. They are. Well,
let's face it, the kids are the ones who win.
Yeah.
Because they didn't do anything wrong and they get a mom.
That's right. They get a mom and all her money. So I loved that at the end.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, because she goes, "Oh no, it's my money, not his." So that's when the kids are all excited. They start making their list for Christmas. Yeah, see, favorite role.
Oh man, that makes so much. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm kind of surprised because I get made fun of for my favorite movies a lot, especially by Mark.
Uh-huh.
I know, right?
Right.
See, this is why I don't feel bad about telling that joke now. But no, I have a very pedestrian list of things that I like. Mm-hmm. I have an undeserved pickiness to movies. So I'm honestly kind of shocked that we had so many that were similar.
Me too. That's right. One thing we didn't talk about was Bone Tomahawk. Have you not seen Bone Tomahawk?
No, I actually haven't seen that.
Oh God, you need to watch that movie.
Okay.
It's set in kind of the Wild West, where he's like a sheriff of a really small town, and no, I don't even tell you anything else. Just you need to find it's on Netflix right now.
This is a recent one, isn't
Yes.
it? Okay.
And it's so good. But anyway, so we didn't talk about that, which it's a great, but man, it is grisly near the end. Anyway, we also didn't talk about any of his childhood movies.
I didn't see any of them.
The Disney stuff?
Not a single one of them.
You know, I think there's at least 4. There's 3 computer that wore tennis shoes type. And then I think he's in Gus, the mule that kicks for the football team.
I was thinking of something else.
Yeah.
Isn't there an alien movie with a Gus in it?
There's a Paul.
That's something.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, so he's had a whole career before he even stepped on for the thing, or for Escape from New York.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Escape from New York like his first?
His first major theatrical role.
Right.
Again, the whole thing with John Carpenter doing Elvis, that was on TV.
Right.
I think it was at NBC, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. It's out there that you can see it, but it's never been released on like DVD or anything like that. It wasn't even part. I don't think you can get it through the Peacock service. Sometimes you could order.
I can find it.
Yeah. Maybe not. I have a copy. I don't get it to you.
So you have this massive collection that is just wonderful, and I envy it. I have Plex.
Oh, me too. I got mine on there.
See, Plex that's how I do audiobooks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. By the way, I just finished Zombie Bigfoot by Nick Sullivan. So fun.
No idea.
It was so fun. No, it's happened to be tooling through once and saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll get this and read it. So much fun. Started off kind of, but man, hit its stride. It's awesome.
So whenever I hear the words zombie, Bigfoot together, all I can think of is maybe they'll find this one.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I can think of. Okay. They do. Yeah, like, that one you'll see, because he can't move that fast.
Yeah. And, well, actually, it's really cool. The guy did it. He said he was on a flight, and he opened up the Sky Mile magazine, and on this side, there was a zombie, like, placard, like you stick in the ground, and it looks like it's coming out of the... And then on this page, there was a Bigfoot statue for your garden. And he went, zombie, Bigfoot. Zombie, Bigfoot. So it's kind of cool in that, and not to give too much away, but there's a meteor that's been in the earth. Some geologists pull it up. They turn into zombies. And then the Bigfoot, there's a whole tribe of them. And so the leader ends up coming across them, thinks, there's not a big deal, knocks one of them, and the other one bites him. And then he becomes a zombie.
Oh.
So, really, it's a really great story. It's on Audible. So if you're reading this, I'm going to try to get in touch with him too. If you're watching this, go listen to it, buy it, read it, whatever. It's a fun film. Fun project. So, anyway, okay. We are now at the point where I say, man, that was a lot of fun.
It was, in fact.
Well, I know. This is the point that I say that.
Oh, okay.
So just hold on. Man, that was a lot of fun. Now you can go from there.
You're right, man. That was fantastic.
You're awesome. Up high. So that concludes our countdown of our favorite Kurt Russell roles. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time to make this list and for driving over here. I will feed you a burger for sure.
Yes.
And if you like Cokes in a bottle, you can have one of those too.
Right on.
All right. To all of you out there in the podcast universe, we know that you have a choice in podcasts, and we appreciate that you choose this one. If you do like the show, we would love it if you would go out to your favorite podcast app, leave us a 5-star review. Just tell people how wonderful we are. Meet people in the streets. If you're in the, I don't know, if you're in line at the grocery store, tell them, hey, I've heard about, Plastic Microphone Studio and the Fave Five From Fans. Maybe they'll listen. And I'm starting to say this lately, and I know it's probably karmically bad, but if you didn't like the show, you could still leave a 5-star glowing review. I've got no problem with you lying. I mean, it's fine. Like I said, karmically, you'll be clean. Just move on. But keep that in mind. Okay. So The Plastic Microphone delivers not only a complete disarray with Jay Murray whenever we feel like putting it out, but also new episodes of Fave Five for Fans every Friday, unless we don't. So we've asked that you go out, find us, stream us, follow us, subscribe to us, like us, send us money. I don't know. But, anyway. New episodes come out every Friday, so make sure to watch for them. You're even on YouTube. I'm on Blue Sky now, Instagram, the TikTok, and everywhere. Even X.
That sounds like you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, but like children.
Yeah, that too. Well, I'm not doing the funny little dances, so we'll see. Yet.
Yeah, we're too old for that.
Yeah, but no, if I could get 4 or 5 more listeners, I might. New episodes, I told you that already. They come out on Fridays.
Yes, I do.
All right. So just remember, folks, it may not be the best. It may not be the most popular. But if it's your favorite, it's good enough for us.
Clearly.
Thanks for joining us. David, take us out.
Please don't blame him for however bad I was. You need to blame Mark C. Sino.
Yes.
He is a Bram Stoker something award-winning author.
Well, he's a Bram Stoker nominated editor. Okay? And the best way to stick it to him is to go to octobernightspress.com, buy one of his books, and in the little thing where you put it in, tell him how horrible it is. Because then he gets the sale from the book, but it's still...
I bought a book from him and he never gave me?
That sounds like him.
Right?
God.
So blame Mark C. Sino.
It's a new hashtag.
For
Blame Mark.
I like it.
Yeah. Blame Mark CS. I think... Make it happen, people. Make it happen.
Thank you for having me, Jimmy.
Thank you, sir. Y'all have to... Thank you.
Nobody says penultimate.